the next scandal, because you know who's been involved allegedly in funding a lot of these protests? George Soros, right? George Soros, a super wealthy individual, hardcore leftist, spends his money on groups to advance his agenda both here and abroad. I guess he has a First Amendment right to do that. We can reject what he does as long as he follows the rules. He has a right to do it. Well, does he need your tax dollars to do that type of work? Of course he doesn't. Well, don't you know it? At least under the Obama administration, they were giving him money, his open society organizations abroad. And so Soros is very active abroad. He was active in Central America. He's active in Central Europe. He's active all over the world, trying to impose his transnational socialist agenda on other countries. In Hungary, they resisted strongly and pushed back against the Soros entities that were placed there. But other countries like Macedonia and Albania, they're having a much more difficult time. And they're not helped by USAID and the State Department working hand in glove with Soros in those countries. Specifically in Albania, we already uncovered through Freedom of Information Act litigation that $9 million, your tax dollars, during the Obama administration went to help the open society operation, the Soros operation in Albania. This man's a billionaire. He doesn't need your tax dollars. But it's that relationship, as far as the Obama administration was concerned, because this money I think was paid to him in 2016, just having the dollar go out the door to Soros gives Soros and his cronies there who work in his organizations the excuse to work hand in glove with the government because they've got that financial connection. So that's why it's important, A, that it be exposed, and of course, B, stopped. But secondly, we've received new documents as a result of, again, a lawsuit. Judicial Watch, you know, a lot of people talk about Soros. A lot of people say Soros is terrible, Soros does this, Soros does that. Well, Judicial Watch is in court trying to get information about what exactly your tax dollars are being used for with respect to Soros, and trying to figure out what his influence is, especially any inappropriate influence in our government decision making and our foreign policy abroad. And these new sets of documents make it look like the State Department outsourced its foreign policy in Albania to the Soros operation. The documents show that Soros's groups were invited into an election rollout event at the U.S. Embassy in 2015. His top guy in Albania, which I guess isn't the end of the world, but it shows you just how close they were. Pretty tough to get invitations to the U.S. Embassy abroad. You got to be connected. Look, we may not think Albania is a big deal, but Albania thinks the United States is a big deal. Generally speaking, it's a tremendously pro-American country. It's terrible corruption. Obviously, they still have the far-left elements from its days as a communist nation under the thumb of the Soviet Union. So its efforts to bring back markets, its efforts to bring back sensible government are being impeded by socialist entities under the Soros operation. And typically their ideas are we have to have judicial reform, which is their vehicle for suppressing the will of the people in the legislature and the executive branch, or so, you know, their versions of them abroad. That's what's going on in Albania specifically. And not only that, according to the documents we've uncovered, Soros's people are invited into the embassy, into the United States government operations to figure out who to give money from. So not only are they getting your money, they're helping direct the spending of your money. Who knew that the United States government, the State Department, USAID, was allowing Soros operators to come in and help spend and direct their money? And there's a June 2015 email from Ilva Kuko, a program specialist in the Public Affairs Office in the U.S. Embassy in Tirana, which is the capital of Albania. He invites several people, including Dobrishi, who is Soros's top guy in Albania, to a donors grant reviewing meeting at the U.S. Embassy. in which participants would review applications for grants submitted by NGOs, non-governmental organizations, seeking U.S. taxpayer grant money from the State Department. And this is the invitation. Your valuable input and comments will be used by the U.S. Embassy's Democracy Commission, which has the ultimate authority in awarding the grant. So they were advising this government entity on how to spend money. Now you can bet if Judicial Watch, for instance, was seeking a grant in Albania, do you think Soros's companies or Soros's organization would approve that? Do you think the USAID, the deep staters there, would approve that? Of course not.